welcome to New Fox Tech. I'm throwing you guys a little bit of a curveball today in the form of changing it up. Today, I'm working on my 2003 Ford F350, which it happens to be my daily driver that I've been neglecting for several years because when I got it like 2 years ago. Been driving it ever since, every day, and I mean, it's gotten some love. I rebuilt the engine, put it back in. Well, I bought a parts truck, rebuilt that engine, and then swapped that into this. Didn't need to be. I just wanted a good bait. Like, I didn't know anything about the other engine, so now I do know about this one, which didn't even need to be rebuilt, but I bought all the stuff before I even took it apart, so, you know, might as well rebuild it while I'm there. Today we're doing all steering except for the box and the pivot arm. We're doing the drag link and the tie rod ends, as well as the steering dampener, and up here in the front I'm going to be doing the upper and lower ball joint, and I also have new axle shafts, seals for the axle shaft and the hub, and I'm going to be cleaning and painting everything as I go, including these four-wheel drive thing, you know, whatever the actual name of this is called, but you know, the activator for manual four-wheel drive, which sometimes this one's doing good. The other one was locking up on me, so I took it all apart, cleaned it all up on the inside, and re-greased it and put it back together, and now it seems to be working just fine again. So that's awesome. I'm probably gonna do the same on this just to cover my bases. And so I'm pretty familiar with these trucks, so I can kind of lead you guys through what I'm doing here. So I'll do my best to be educational, but I am no teacher by any means. Alright. Now we got to get this, luckily, so the lug nuts are 21 millimeter. The caliper bracket bolts are also 21 millimeter, which is great because that means you don't have to ever take the 21 off of your impact when you're doing all this. And I believe, I may be wrong here, I'm going to verify, I forget if that's right or not, but I think the tie rod end is also 21. It is. So all this stuff you don't have to worry about switching out your socket at all, which is nice. Let me get a little hammer for that. Alright, never mind. Just popped it off with the old pry bar there. And I will address that in a minute, because of course the cotter pins are so old that they just break pretty good. But anyway, now that that's disconnected, one thing I like doing when that's disconnected is it allows me to easily access these bolts here to get the caliper off. Also, the hub bolts to the knuckle are also 21 millimeters, so you don't have to change anything for that either. What I do need is an impact swivel. When I'm doing these, I like to just shove the caliper between the spring, leaf spring here, and the frame rail. It'll hold it there for you real nice. That way the line doesn't have tension on it. Of course, I got stainless steel lines here, and I don't know, they like to twist. They're all, it's not bad, but it's okay. It's all right. I think I'll move you guys in. I'm not sure where to put you, really. You can kind of see there, but get your rotor off. Looks pretty good. These aren't that old, so didn't expect to see anything bad there. These hubs are, I think I replaced them pretty early on. They're pretty good yet. One thing I'm going to do here too is I'm deleting on this stupid vacuum hose that goes to the knuckle, and I'm going to have to put a block off on this barb here, or put even a bolt in its place. I'm not going to try to get that off. I'm sure that's not going to come out. Probably just break on me, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just put a little rubber vacuum cap on there, call it a day. So now I need to get this thing out, which is super easy on these. There's these. So here you got this. I mean, I can do it by hand. That's your snap ring, if you will, that just holds that from coming out. Once you got that off, just pull on that, boom, there she is. Simple enough. Then down in here, you have to disconnect your hub from your axle shaft, and there's a locking ring. There's a snap ring down in here too, and then there's three spacers. There's two spacers. There's three spacers underneath the locking ring, the snap ring, and it's like two metal and then a plastic one in between. So we got to get them out of there. That'll release the axle shaft from the hub. That way we can undo the hub bolts and then pull the hub off. I also have to get an Allen key for the ABS sensor, and I got to take this nut off here, and then this bolt off for the actual ABS itself. Let me grab them. Alright, so of course the typical Ford fashion, this bolt here that holds the ABS line to the knuckle is an 8 millimeter. I'm just going to take that off quick and then put it back on without the ABS line connected. See how that ABS, it just has a bracket on it. So I'll just put that back in there. That way when we paint it, it's not going to gum up the threads or anything. So I'll just bottom it out by hand right there. And then I got to take that. And what size is it? It's this guy here, which is a, yep, this fits, I guess it's probably metric, but if I could read the thing, 5/32 apparently. No, that's 3/16. 3/16 fits. Just loosen that up, pull it out, when you're doing all this, you do want to watch out. Make sure that you don't get a whole bunch of garbage down inside the hub, because that could really mess with stuff, mess with the reading and whatnot. And you don't want that in there. That's, you know, the inside the hub where the bearings and stuff are, so you don't want material in there. And I'm just going to hang the ABS line with its nut, with its bolt. Just hang it down there so that hopefully it stays together, because there's also like a thin washer gasket type thin piece of sheet like metal in there that you want to be careful you don't lose that. And then I got my Minnesota Pneumatic Products snap ring pliers set. There's your snap ring. And the washers, sometimes they fight me. They're so slippery because they're covered in grease. Yeah, that's fine. They'll come off when you pull the hub off, so that's not a big deal right now. And now I'll just turn the knuckle one way, knock these nuts out. Oh, lovely. Sometimes so this is a stud in the hub, and the stud's supposed to stay in there and then the nut's supposed to come off, but of course I had a lot of times doing a lot of these, the stud will come out, so I'll just red Loctite these when I put them back in. That way they stay in there, hopefully, instead of coming out on me. Okay, well, that was a fight. I'm gonna have to dig through my my stash of extra wheel hubs for Super Duties, because I guess I never did hubs on this truck. I thought I remember doing hubs. This is not a factory nut, and it's also not it's a 7/8 nut, not a 21 millimeter. Yeah. Why? I thought I did this, but I did not do that. That was a real pain in my butt to get that off, so I'll have to get a new nut. The stud, the thread pitch is the same, but it ain't, and it's not a 22 either. It's 22 is too big for it. It's 7/8, so I don't like that. That's stupid. We're gonna not put that back on. I'm gonna get the right size nut, because I'm not dealing with that. Anyway, now that that is done, this little shaky, shimmy shake, and even up here in the north where we're in the Rust Belt, it just pulls right off. Never had one of these stick. Never. So I don't know if Ford just does it differently than the other companies, but never had one of these Fords fight me. So that's cool. These are the washers that I was talking about to go with that lock ring. So now we can pull the axle shaft out. I'm going to get some rags. Now, I always just at first try just wiggle this on out, but of course the factory style seal, and like, yeah, it's not going to move. The factory seal is a pain in the butt, and I hate them. I absolutely hate them. They designed it, it's supposed to be a vacuum seal, because then when you flip the switch in the cab for four-wheel drive, then it activates a solenoid, which sends vacuum to the knuckles here, which then activates four-wheel drive for you without having to get out and manually lock them. And if any of you know anything about Ford and this particular setup, it never works. They never work. They just don't. So everybody deletes them, or everybody just ignores that and uses the manual locking hubs, like is right there, because more reliable. It's just not such a pain in the butt like this is. So Only way I figured getting these out is use a pry bar, and you got to pry on the back of the axle shaft, and it'll come out eventually, but you got to fight with it for a while. Got to loosen this stupid thing up in here. Alright, that one didn't fight me as much as the other one. There's your short little axle shaft, and since I already pulled the other side out, there will not be a bunch of oil spilling. But if you guys are doing this, get something ready underneath to catch all the oil. It will spill out from the differential. And you might be seeing, obviously I'm putting the splines on the asphalt here. I don't care because I'm replacing this whole thing. This also has this stupid shield on the back of it, which doesn't allow you to put the socket on the damn nut on the back. So I had to bend that in to get access to it. But anyway, that's out. Now we can move on to the ball joints, which was the original thing. Or should I say the whole reason that we're in here. So these are always, the other one fought me quite a bit. This one is definitely going to as well. It is in just as bad a shape, and the cotter pin, as everything else, the cotter pins are just completely deteriorating and falling apart, and I guarantee you I won't be able to get it out. So on the last one, they're so fragile that I bend them up so I can get the socket on there, and then the impact will just break it. That's the only thing you can do. I will try to get it out. Actually, I'm going to heat it up with the old MAP gas. This stuff works great. I like using heat. I don't know if you guys are from the south and you're watching this. I'm sure you guys don't have as much. I've seen videos, you all don't have nearly as much rust as we do up here in the north, but you can tell when you're looking at this stuff that the rust, like the nut looks like it's one with everything else. If you heat it up enough, the heat first of all cleans everything off, because any of this grease or whatnot is going to turn into like char. It's going to get charred and it's going to fall off. The heat is going to knock the rust off really easy. And but anyway, you can actually see, if you heat it up enough, you'll be able to watch the nut separate from the base material. You can kind of see that happen in real time, which is pretty cool. And if you guys are using propane, let me tell you, you need to stop using propane, because we did for the longest time here. And it works, but it takes forever, but it doesn't burn nearly as hot as MAP gas. This MAP gas is incredible. It works really good. So I highly recommend, if you guys don't have MAP gas, please save yourself the pain of dealing with propane and just go get some MAP gas. And then if you want to one step up from MAP gas, you get oxyacetylene. Of course, that's way more expensive. It doesn't come in a little package like this, but that works really good. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to keep heating it up, because I can tell here. I'll bring you guys in here to see this. The nut looks like it's one with everything else. There's no noticeable separation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up for a while, and then while I'm hitting it with the torch, I am going to, and make sure this area is clean, because any sort of dirt or debris is going to kind of soak up some of the heat. You want all that heat going into that nut. And as I'm heating it up, I'm going to hit it with my hammer there, which is more of a dead blow, but it's like a steel dead blow. Let me show you guys this quick. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about here. I don't know if you can tell, but there's not a whole lot of separation you can't see, it just looks like one solid piece of metal. So I'm going to heat that up, and I'm going to smack it with a hammer a bunch, and that should loosen it up good. I'll put you guys right here. Alright, so it didn't make any noticeable difference there yet, but I'm going to go grab the socket, and I'm going to hit that with the impact and see what happens. Alright, so due to all the rust, of course, the socket, I think it's a 27, does not fit properly because of the rust on there, but when you hammer it on a little lightly, it should handle it. Alright, hopefully this doesn't strip out. Perfect. Alright. That's what I like to see there. I like when it works. On the other side, the impact wouldn't even get the nut off at first. And I had to sit there and do that for a while. But got lucky this time. Also, I heated up, this time instead of just fighting with it. And on the bottom is a 33 millimeter nut, which I didn't have to fight much with last time. I'm going to grab that tool then. Of course, that's 33 millimeters and or 1 5/16. Kind of loose on this one. The new ones that I got is this one works really good. So I think, yeah, that might be a different size actually. Alright, so I don't have a 33 millimeter socket, but I do have here a 1 5/16 socket, which will work. I'm going to try with no heat first. I might have to move you guys. I got a really long breaker bar here. Oh no, it'll miss you just enough. Alright, let's see. Get that on there good. If I get lucky, it'll come. Nope, I'm going to have to heat it up. Yep. Heat, beat, repeat. Just like the blacksmiths. Alright, at first I'm going to try no hammer. And we'll see what that does. If I can get it to sit properly. There it goes. Nope. Alright, so I'm going to smack the housing here. Just shocking it a little bit, trying to break that rust loose. And I'm going to give her the heat again. You know what? I'm going to put the wobble socket on the impact and try it with that. Might not work. Always run the risk of breaking your wobble. Ooh, it doesn't wobble enough. Well, if I put an extension, then it might really break. I don't have an extension nearby either. That's a shame. It might go on if, without that, with a little extension. Alright, we're going to try it without it now. Nope. Alright, I'm going to grab an extension quick. Okay, short extension acquired. Everything's probably still hot, I would bet. Nope, I gotta do... This is gonna be really interesting, guys. I'm sure I'm losing a lot of torque here with all this, but alright, see what happens. Yep. More heat. I think I got it. Oh, finally. Yep. Broke it loose. The impact just couldn't cut it. Not for that. Not with all them extensions on it. But without the extensions, with the pry breaker bar and some elbow grease, I guess, got her loose. And I'm sure some people would probably recommend leaving the nut on, but in case it falls, but it isn't going to fall because it's stubborn. Unless it wants to fall, it can fall. No, it's stuck now. Good. Also, this thing's covered in grease. My goodness. Tired of touching it. Get off of there. Alright. Yeah, I suppose I will. No, I'll put the top nut back on. No, I can't do that because it's stuck in the socket. Alright. We're just going to send it. Oh yeah, there we go. It finally listened. Bada bing, bada boom. Perfect. So now I'm going to shift to using the ball joint press kit, pressing them ball joints out. And then we can move on to cleaning everything up. Alright, y'all. So here's our ball joint press kit and our add-on 11-piece press kit, the add-on kit. Because when you're working on a Super Duty, fun fact, the regular kit here just does not have the right things that you need. Not everything. Has some stuff, but you kind of gotta fiddle around to try to get everything out. I gotta get that off here. If you forget, you'll just destroy the snap ring, and if yours is like mine, the snap ring is seized, and you gotta give it a little persuasion. Not too much. When I use this, I would normally use a screwdriver, but I don't have one near me, but I do have this. There we go. Looking good. So now, all you need, if you have the add-on kit, you just need this. That's all you need, and that'll push it all the way out. If you don't have the add-on kit, then it'll be quite a battle trying to finagle with a whole bunch of different tools, and you get it so far out, and then you have to switch tools, different one. And one time I had to make more of a custom tool to do this. A plate, I believe I had to make up a plate for it, but this add-on kit makes it much easier. Now this one seems more seized than the other side was, so hopefully it's not too bad. My particular ball joint press is a 22 millimeter. Oh boy. Alright, so now I'm going to put tension on it. Now I'm going to hit it with the torch. Alright, same deal for this next one. Same tool. Except for this time, you're going to be putting that through the lower ball joint thing. Just like that. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna let this cool off, and I'll bring you guys over here for me to clean that up. Alright, so I picked up this new tool from Harbor Freight the other day. I've been using it. This little needle descaler. Air needle scaler. It's really cool, really great, works fantastic, and it's fun. Very fun to use, so I've been having fun with it. So I'll time lapse this for you guys. Alright guys, so now that I've pretty thoroughly gone over that whole area with the needler, now I'm going to hit it with the wire wheel. I don't know about you guys, but one thing that really bothers me with drills is when they run out of battery while I'm trying to use them for something like this. So I've turned to the old corded drill now when I do stuff like this, because I hate having to get up multiple times to go get a new battery. But that's just my hot take. Let's get moving. I also have a assorted pack of different kinds of wire wheels. Of course, this is my last 90-degree one because they happen to be really useful. Now, I'll use this as an opportunity to teach you guys a perfect example of why I like the needler. That's because there's this flake here of rust. Can't quite get that off, kind of. The wire wheel just doesn't quite do it. So I might have to come back with the needler again and get that, but I'll keep going with this. Something I want to show you guys here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but right there, I need to go back over this with the needler. This is that's all scale right there. That's all scale, and the wire wheel just will not get it. You'd have to sit here. If you don't have a needler, you can use a ball peen hammer and or a chisel to remove this kind of stuff. But I need to sit here for a while and knock all this off. So there you go, guys. You can see that. I don't know if you can see how much smoother that is. But basically the reason you want to get this scale off is because it will continue to rust underneath of it. That's the whole point of that. Otherwise you can paint over it all you want, it'll keep rusting. I'm back, and it's been, man, I started this like a week ago, literally. It's Friday, and I started this on Friday, which is great. Of course, I finally got this knuckle cleaned up, and of course, I just went into autopilot and started painting. This is a primer, and I just remembered that I wanted to talk to you guys about it. So I use the Rust-Oleum self-etching primer on literally everything, clean everything up, and then self-etching primer, and then I do like 3 coats of paint. Normally that's my golden rule, is 3 coats. It works best. It's very strong that way, and the self-etching primer makes sure that stuff does not come off. But like a dummy, I forgot, after doing that one, I painted that all up first, 3 coats and everything, and then I tried to put the ball joints in. Well, I'm going to try to save you guys the headache. It's not much of a headache, but I would suggest, I'm going to try it now. I'm going to do the ball joints first, and then I'm going to paint, because, I mean, you're juggling all these tools in your hands, and you got the ball joint, you have the press kit, you have the tools for the press kit, which are all separate, and then once you get everything in place, you got to hold it there with one hand and then hit the press kit with the impact, which is just a pain in the butt, okay? And it's hard that you can't physically hold all the stuff at the same time, So basically you end up dropping the knuckle, or it's sliding all over the place, or you drop the ball joint press kit on the thing, and anyway, you scuff the heck out of your paint quite significantly every darn time. So I'm going to grab my ball joints, and I'm going to put them in before I go to paint. I did, though, off camera over there, I cleaned up my wheel hub assembly. I wire wheeled, and I did needle scale it a bit. It needed a little bit, and then I have primer on it just like this, so I'm going to have to stop here after I get the ball joints out probably and throw a coat of paint on that. And then I'll throw the ball joints in this, so let me get those ball joints. So my first stop whenever I go on to look at for parts for anything, even the Galaxy, go right to Rock Auto and see what they have available to me, just to make sure, they always have, I like being able to see cheap to medium, and I like how they have it categorized. So naturally, being an F350, I went to the heavy duty section, and they were pretty decent price for these ball joints. So I got these TTX ball joints. They claim to have a new fancy design. I don't know, you guys can look into it. I don't remember all the details for it, but so far they seem pretty good. When I installed them over there, I'm pretty happy with them. But one thing that's interesting, like how to put, it's just putting these things in is what's a real pain. Now these come with a installation tool, which is really nice. I like that a lot. The ball joints are really nice, at least by look. They look really good. I quite like it. Comes with a block off. Each of them come with snap rings and Zerk set. Like they come with a 90-degree Zerk fitting and a straight Zerk fitting. And one of the new designs is the castle nut for the top, the upper ball joint has got this fancy they custom design. You don't use a cotter pin. It has a safety. So the castle nut has this cutout in it, basically, around it, and that accepts. Oh, they gave me one of these fancy guys here. So that goes through there, and then it snaps on there. Of course, I can't do it too easily without it actually going through the ball joint, but I think I like that quite a bit, not having to bend a cotter pin. That seems to work pretty good. No complaints there. Of course, on these, luckily on the upper ball joint, which is going to go this way, they give you this bolt on the bottom for the Zerk fitting block off, because you can't have a Zerk fitting on the ball joint, because your four-wheel drive assembly will shear that off immediately. So you have to put this block off nut or bolt to keep that from happening. So just remember that while you're doing this. And also on this kit, they have a lot of snap ring, like I said. However, you won't be using the snap ring on the upper ball joint. You will be using it on the lower ball joint. But the upper doesn't have one from the factory anyway. And the way that it sits, the weight of the vehicle is pushing the ball joint further into the knuckle anyway, so there's no way for that to fall out. Unlike the lower, which it's actually pushing the ball joint. That's still pushing it in, but anyway. That's the upper. And I always forget, even though I just did these, I always forget which one goes first. You have to put your press kit through the knuckle to put one of them on. I believe I gotta do the lower ball joint first. Actually, with the add-on kit, the ball joint press add-on kit, I believe you might be able to get away with doing either one first, but let me see here. On this lower ball joint, there's a big Allen key in the center of it, which is great, but they use a jam nut, which is good. You know, you need the jam nut, but what the problem that causes is now you can't use a socket on the ball joint because it just spins the ball joint, because the lock nut is stronger than the ball joint's resistance to spinning. So now you got to hold it in place with an Allen key, and now you can't use a torque wrench on it because of that. And even if you tighten it down, like, you still overcome the ball joint, you know, it spins regardless. So you just I just got to tight until when I turn the knuckle, the ball joint didn't turn itself, the ball joint spun instead of it spinning the whole assembly by itself. I don't know how else I'll show you guys. I'm not good at explaining stuff, but I'll show you what it is I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. So hopefully this will be easier doing it on a table. I'm gonna have to go get my impact for this. All right, we're gonna start here. Got the installation tool here. I got the on the main kit. I don't know what number this is. I have that in there, and then I have the. Really, I look at these numbers on these things, but I have one of the adapter pieces, and then over here I have another piece. We're gonna have to switch. We have to change it up because there ain't enough room to get all that. But you can see how well, I'm gonna be careful with this. You can see how it goes all the way through the knuckle. So you can't do the upper ball joint first. You have to start with the bottom. I am going to be really careful with this because there's not a lot of threads engaged right now. No problem. All right. Now that it's that far, we have to put a different guy over here because now this is not big enough for that. All right. Once you've gotten it in so far, you can actually use the add-on kits number 8, and then you're going to flip your ball joint press. You're going to use the main kits. This is also the add-on number 6, and then I'm going to use the main kits number 7 tool. We're going to flip it around this way. In order to push it the rest of the way through. Of course, now it wants to fight me here. And this is where you need 4 hands to do all this. And just like that, your lower ball joint is in. And I have to get the snap ring in, so I gotta get my snap ring pliers. There we go. Snap ring's installed. Now we can switch over to the upper ball joint. Alright guys, so for that one's all the way in now finally. And for that guy, use the installation tool that it came with, as well as the new kit's number 7. And then I started out by just using the press, obviously, and then the move, once it got in a little bit, I can use the number 10 in the regular kit for that to get it all the way in there. Alright guys, now I can paint it. And no, I'm not going to tape anything off, I'm just going to paint over everything. Whatever, it's fine. Alright guys, so I got the knuckle on here now, and I got the ball joints, I got the nuts on them. Now what I was talking about earlier, now on this ball joint, as you can see, requires a Allen key. I have this one, I don't know what size it is, I just dug through my collection of personal tools and found it. Now, this is a real pain, but basically you gotta hold that there while you tighten it with a 1 5/16 wrench. So I'll show you guys that. And so like right now you can see how the nut's spinning with the knuckle. Basically my my plan, because you can't torque it down, it's supposed to be 160 foot-pounds or something. I think 160 is correct. And you can't, obviously since you can't do that, I just tighten that down until when I turn the knuckle, the nut and the ball joint don't move. Nope. Nut's still spinning with it. Alright, that should be more than tight enough. And now the next part is trying to get the dang thing to come loose. Which last time I had to just beat the Allen key off. There we go. That's what the solution was again. There we go. Now, when I rotate the knuckle, the nut and the ball joint do not move. So that's where I want. I'm going to get my torque wrench, and I'm going to torque this one up here now. Yeah, it doesn't work as well as they say, but you can get it on there. That's their special, you know, cotter pin that they, I guess it's proprietary or whatever. So, all right, that's all done. It's time for the axle shaft and its seals. Hey, also, I just wanted to make a quick outro video because I didn't make one, and I kind of cut the last one short when I was working on the truck. And because my buddy came over and he helped me get her all done and dialed in pretty close. I needed him for putting the tie rods in. So I'll give you a look-see. I've been driving it for a couple days and everything's good. Going in for inspection and alignment next month. So I'll just keep driving it until then, because it doesn't need to be inspected until then anyway, so it's fine. So I'll give you a look-see at the finished product I got. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I wanted her on the road, so I got a little lazy with the painting. Okay, I'll be honest, it's fine, it's the daily. So there she be. That's the passenger side, which I already did. As you can see, I sort of kind of got the underneath the leaf spring, but not quite. And there's the new drag link And you know, I got a little wild with the spray paint. It's okay, don't look at it. Anyway, all the way up to there, and there's that side all nice and buttoned together and whatnot. Got a little lazy, didn't do the bottom of that leaf spring there. It's fine. Like I said, I ain't from New York, but don't worry about it. So anyway, I just wanted to make a closeout because I didn't do that. So if you enjoyed this video, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you liked it, leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this and like my Galaxy project, please consider subscribing to stay with me all along my journey. And also, I got this little I haven't shown yet. So if you guys want to see some content on this bad boy, yeah, it needs paint, but stock Mazda Miata NA 1990. Please let me know in the comments. And but for now, I just got the Galaxy project going on. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.